All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to another video that we have, and we have a special treat because we have a special guest with us. I know everybody knows me already, Empowered RN Nurse Mentor, and we have a special guest with us today. We have the president of the Canadian Black Nurses Association. I'm super
Lions.
excited. Oh, Alliance. I'm sorry, Alliance. Super excited. I'm happy to have you here, that you're gracing us with your presence. But before I do further ado, I just want to make sure I get your pronunciation of your name. Can I say Ovie or just say the entirety of your name?
So it's Ovie.
Ovie.
So Ovie, and it's Ovie Onagbeboma, but you can call me Ovie.
Ovie, I'll stick with Ovie. Thank you so much. And before we jump in, I know they know me already. We just want to know, tell us a bit about yourself as we dive in.
What can I say about myself? So I am a Nigerian, Guyanese, Canadian-born nurse by background. I will say I'm a national leader within the nursing space, who's very business entrepreneur focused. I'm also an intrapreneur, so I do work within the corporate space as well, as a nursing leader within those spaces as well. I'm a mother. I love to travel. And I think when it comes to me, when you see me, I'm exactly what you see. I'm bold, I'm confident, I'm loving, I'm kind, and I love leadership.
Yes. Wow, that's a lot in a nutshell. And a little backtrack so my audience can understand that. I remember we did a story, and then that's how I heard of the Canadian Black Nurses Alliance, as we were speaking about earlier. And I did state I wanted to interview the president for this organization, and here we are today. So it's very important to speak life and to have faith in things, because it's such an honor to have you here, gracing your presence with us today. But before we go any further, I want you to tell us about your organization and also what led you to start an organization such as this.
All right. So Canadian Black Nurses Alliance is birthed from my personal nursing journey, starting from nursing school all the way to formal leadership. I had the privilege to co-found this with two women of faith. I say they're in nursing as well, but they're definitely divinely connected with me. And the why behind starting this organization was just to make sure that there is an organization that empowers, serves, and mentor Black Canadian nurses through the power of community, and to be the leading voice for Black Canadian nurses. The why behind it is, in my own personal journey, there was never really an organization that stood about representing people of African descent 365 days a year. And just going through the challenges to get to where I am today, I always knew that I would be successful, continue to be successful, but I always looked back and thought about other people who gave up along the journey because of some of the opposition, the resistance, the negative seeds that may have been spread into their ears to make them give up on nursing or to settle for less than what they wanted to achieve within the nursing profession. So spearheading this organization during the time of the pandemic, after unceremoniously being let go from a major organization, it gave me the opportunity to sit down and sit with my maker, my Heavenly Father, the God of Abraham, and birth purpose out of pain, and really do something that God was calling me to essentially do from before I was created in my mother's womb. So I'm honored to be someone who co-founded an organization that never existed in the establishment of Canadian history.
Wow.
And just to see it grow and spread over the last 5 years is just a testimony to the obedience of being a follower of Christ,
Yes.
and doing something that supersedes my individual self and my two co-founders. It's bigger than us. And when it's bigger than you definitely need a whole nation and also the world to help you behind it. So I'm honored to be, in the space of the vision, the leader of the organization, but exposed to significant amount of leaders within this organization, just from those who've come and imparted their vision and helped get it to where it is today, and those who have stayed with me along the entire course of this journey. So that's a little bit about CBNA. We have regional chapters, which are led by professional nurses across Canada. And we also have academic chapters, which are sprouted out from universities, which are led by nursing students. We are Black focused, we're not Black exclusive. And when you look about who can be part of CBNA, it's anybody who's like-minded. So yes, our target audience is Black nurses, but in terms of people who are making this organization what it is today, it goes beyond having a nursing designation or education, but people who are like-minded and want to see human beings empowered, human beings operating at their level of excellence and their ability to achieve great things in this nation.
Yes, that's so much that you just gave, and trust me, when you talk about purpose and the point that you got laid off or rejected from your job, and you birthed something like this, it takes a special person to do that, and also to listen to the calling of God. And I want to acknowledge the part where you spoke about that you wanted to create something for other persons that looked like you. Heavy on the part where you talked about nurses that gave up, that quit along the way, but you were the ones, and others who were working with you that wanted to spearhead something like this. And I don't know about you, that's somebody that's a powerful leader, an advocate right there, that doesn't just walk the path, but they look back at the path that they walk to create others to walk that path too. And trust me, that's outstanding, and I admire that work that you're doing. And trust me, when you talk about I just was on a call recently with someone, and we were just talking about businesses. And when you talk about the impact of having someone that looks like you, advocating for you and helping you along the way, it makes the dream possible.
Yes.
At all times. And I must congratulate you and your team for what you are doing. And I heard you spoke about that. You also have regional chapters, and also you're founding the universities. But in terms of regional chapters, for those who are outside of Canada, where would you find those chapters? Is it the provinces per province?
So our regional chapters are within the Canadian landscape, and it's in different provinces. So far we have regional chapters in Quebec, Montreal. We also have Alberta, Edmonton. We also have in the territory of Northwest Territories. So we are looking for expansion in Saskatchewan, as well as Manitoba, as well as Halifax, Nova Scotia, where we do have academic chapters. And we're looking for those practicing nurses to, take the lead of spearheading our regional chapters within those areas as well.
Okay. So you already answered who can join, that, you're Black led, but you're not limited to Black led. And what about the services that you offer in terms for the nurses?
So our staple service is our mentorship program. So we have a mentorship program that we are on our 5th cohort, and we offer that to practicing nurses across the nation. It's usually a 6-month mentorship program, and we pair practicing nurses with other practicing nurses or leaders. We're within the journey of where that mentee's going. And then the other part to our offering is an undergraduate mentorship program, which is called Black Nurses and Students Allied for Success. We currently are piloting that mentorship program out of our McMaster University CBNA chapter, as well as our Western University CBNA Western chapter. And that's for undergraduate nursing students, either in their year 1 or year 4 of nursing school. And they also get paired with mentors too, in preparation for their journey through nursing school and getting ready to go into practice. Another offering that we do have is our Black Voices in Nursing, as well as our diverse leaders in nursing. And that is an offering that is like a webinar where we may bring great speakers or great thought leaders who would come and just talk about topics or subjects that our members need to know or craving to know and have access to. And when we look at the diverse leaders in nursing, that's exposing our members to anybody beyond people who may look like us, who, when you're looking at diversity of thought, when you're looking at diversity of opportunities and professions, that gives us an opportunity to give them that access as well. Another offering that we are extremely proud about and working towards is preparation for our symposium and our AGM, which will be coming in 2026. So there will be more in tune for that. And there's just so much happening at the various chapters that we have in the academic chapters, because they're spearheaded by the various universities who are CBNA chapters. Those chapters do things that matter to them, whether that's supporting maternal health in the communities that they serve, whether it's serving sickle cell disease in terms of bringing more awareness and knowledge to that. We also offer webinars to our members as well. I can talk forever in terms of what we offer. I think one of the major things that we've seen is we are the voice for Black nurses in Canada, and we have been able to support our nursing students who have been unceremoniously failed as it relates to clinical, as it relates to some aspects of theory. And we've been able to stand in the gap as an external support for those students who've gone through those experiences. And to date, we are 100% successful with having those students who utilize that service have those marks where they were failing be overturned for them to pass, and not have to experience being held back and paying extra money to repeat courses because there were biases or procedural errors within the reasons why they were being seen as failing at the time. So lots of offering and lots more to come from the organization as we continue to grow and expand and access various resources. So lots ahead.
Yes, that's outstanding and very inspiring, because rarely you hear about like association or alliances that offer support in terms of failing, providing support in same. But I've heard you mention like for the undergrad nurses, the practicing nurses. What about nurses who are like in the process of getting graduate degrees? Do you offer services for them also too, if they want to be paired with other leaders in like CRNAs, MPs, whatever?
Absolutely. So for our practicing mentorship program, when I say practicing, that attributes to your graduate nurse who's maybe doing their doctorate, master's. We've paired those people several times in various cohorts because we have access to mentors with those experiences. So it's not limited to you. We even have aesthetics nurses who do things, and people who will teach you business pathways and processes within the healthcare profession. So it's not limited to practicing nurses as just in your frontline acute care nurse or community nurse. It definitely goes beyond to the highest level of leadership tier, with us having access to vice presidents of organizations who are like your chief nurse executive within organizations. So we do have a very diverse and large network to give our members access to what they will need.
Wow. I know you mentioned talking about your, I think, symposium that is coming up for next year, but I would like to ask you, like, what is your vision and goals of the organization in the next, like, 5 to 10 years based on the growth that you're seeing right now?
Without spilling too much, the vision is to be a household name. All right. So the vision is that when you hear CBNA, it's, Bank of Montreal. Yeah. WestJet. It's a household name, and it becomes something that you know for supporting nurses across this nation, and you know it for supporting Black and racialized nurses across this nation, and you know it for being a solution, and you know it for being a place of empowerment, a place of connection. One of the other offerings I didn't mention is we offer scholarships, right? So with it being a household name, you know that it's somewhere where you can go and you can get a scholarship and have the financial support that you are accessing as well. So the vision over the next 5 to 10 years is that household name. So what comes with it becoming a household name, like Apple, Nike, and CBNA, we are going to do everything to get it to become a household name.
Yes, wonderful. The next thing, I know you want to work on becoming a household name, and is this limited to Canada? Because What about us in the United States? How do you see yourself? What if the nurses here saying, hey, we want your support, we want this in the US?
So we definitely already have relationships with organizations in the U.S. We have relationships with the organizations that are in London. We've definitely made connections with organizations in Nigeria. We're not limited to the national scope and scale. Partnerships and collaborations is hugely important. I know we're going to talk later on just supporting internationally educated nurses, but being able to support that as an organization and have a voice to support that experience is also not being limited in where our collaborations and partnerships will land us. And it's definitely outside of the borders, right? So when you look at nursing on a global scale, there are similarities, there are differences, and there's definitely lots to learn from how things are happening in different countries across the world, including south of the border. So definitely not limited to just what we're doing here in Canada at all.
Yes. All right. So you already touched on a topic that I wanted to touch on, which is the support for internationally educated nurses. Many times international IENs, Canada has a labor shortage, and IENs are normally they normally advertise for IENs all across the world. And it's very important that we have people that support us, in the event of any issues, because they do face challenges sometimes. And I remember I did some research and saw an event that took place in Manitoba, and I really saw with regards to the IENs that were facing some issues there. And then that's where I heard about your organization and the alliance and the support that you gave to them. I don't know if you want to expound someone on that, on how your organizations assisted those nurses.
Well, I think it goes back to us being the voice for Black nurses. And I think when you look at when our members reach out to us and they're looking for support, we try to understand what that support looks like. And we were definitely an organization that saw that there are some opportunities and there are some gaps and there's some biases in their experiences. And leveraging that power and influence that we have, some collaborations with the Minister of Health in Manitoba as well, and just adding a voice to the experience that they were facing, which was heavily laced in biases and heavily laced in what can eventually be targeting IENs, right? And I think when you look at the pandemic, we were really, pulling them into our system for help. And, they say no good deed goes unpunished. If it's safe to say we're post-pandemic now, hearing how they're being treated or defined or amplified negatively in the forefront for opportunities that we can do as a healthcare system to improve how they are integrated into our system. I think when you look at CBNA lending a voice to it, it was really to make sure that we are telling the right narrative about their experiences, about our opportunities as a Canadian healthcare system to provide better integration, better orientation, and not making it seem like other provinces are negligent in their ability to provide licensure that can be used in other provinces, right? So for our members who brought it to our attention, it was that support. We also did support those who had to repeat things financially. We were able to give them bursaries and scholarships to support them in that way. When you think about an IEN, their resources financially are very limited, right? They're coming into the country. If they're already employed, then they lose that employment because of they're being reported inappropriately, then they have no ability to work, right? And make a living until they go through this investigation process at times or relicensing process. So I think our support was multifaceted. I think it's important as a community that we do leverage organizations that support you way before the problems start, way before the good things happen, way before the opportunities happen. So you actually know what resources are out there for you.
Right.
Nobody is successful on an island. Nobody.
No
right?
one.
No one is successful in isolation. So community is the way that works for us historically. And we need to get back to the roots of advocating, supporting, being a voice, and empowering through that community. And I think when you look at internationally educated nurses, it's seeing them for who they are. They're nurses.
Yes.
Right. So oftentimes, if they don't see IEN or internationally educated at the forefront of any advertisement, they kind of feel left out. And I think we need to change that
Yes.
perception and that narrative for all nurses, right?
Yes. Yeah, so thank you so much, because even when I read that story, when you talk about the narrative that was being, advertised, I was happy to see an organization such as yours that advocated on their behalf. But, what about other countries where other nurses are from who don't have this advocacy? So hopefully, I want to see your organization reach to those other countries. They're nurses too, but we're a subset that sometimes get left on the side when we're new to a system and lack advocacy. On that note, still though, I was really excited that that support was given to them, and happy that an organization such as yours existed. But I wanted to know, with regards to everything that it took for you to get here, this is just one question that popped in my head. What challenge you faced that you overcame to have that organization to where is it today?
My
Any
relationship,
challenge?
my relationship with God had to become
Oh,
the focus,
yeah.
had to become something that was natural, innate, had to become something that, in hindsight, he was always just bringing me closer to him. And I say that because any challenge in the natural that we
Mhm.
experience becomes irrelevant when you're in a relationship with God.
Yes.
You know, the challenges that I faced, when I look at what was actually happening in the spiritual, they weren't even as serious as they were in looking at
Mm.
it naturally. And that might be a little bit deep for the audience here today, but it's just the truth.
Mhm.
Um, when you are backed up by the supernatural power of God, it makes challenges and opportunities look so different.
Yes.
Right. So one of the things that I will say became a challenge, where it was like, this is people trying to tell me who I was not.
Mhm.
Right. So in my journey, if I met people or was in environments where it was contrary to the word of God or contrary to who I knew who I was, birthed by my parents, that was like a red flag that there was something off. And this is a challenge that's trying to chip away from my identity, and knowing who I am in Christ Jesus and knowing who I am through my parents and my bloodline. That was
Yes.
something that was already whipped into me through the innateness of knowledge and my bloodline, that by the time I got to these environments that were trying to tell a different story, those challenges, if you want to call it that, became where, having relationship with and knowing who I was became how I addressed it. Was,
Yes.
you know, pulling that smoke and that noise away and being like, you're not going to tell Ovie who she is.
Yes.
No, my name has a significant prophecy in it and a
Mm.
significant meaning in it. And every time you call my name, you are speaking to what it means, which means king. So
Mm.
as
Yes.
I walk through challenges and opportunities and opposition and resistance, I function through that prophecy. I function through that knowledge of who I am. So, yeah.
I want to say thank you so much to you and your team, your organization, for the work that you're doing throughout this interview. For me, it's just a definition of where passion meets purpose and listening to the call of God. And thank you for the advocacy and for championing diversity in Canada. And I believe you guys are already a household name, and we'd love to see that go global. On another note, though, I think this would probably be my last question. Where can we find you guys' website? I know you have your chapters and universities, but where can we find you if we're interested to join, and what's the requirements for membership?
Okay. So if you want to find CBNA, you can Google us on our website. So it's www.canadianblacknursealliance.org. We are on all social media platforms. So Instagram, it's usually cbna.cbna. On any Instagram platform. We're on LinkedIn, also the CBNA. We're also on Twitter as a CBNA. We're also on Facebook as a CBNA. Our chapters are usually CBNA dot whatever the university name is, or CBNA dot Alberta. If you are Googling top Black nurses in Canada, CBNA does pop up.
Wow.
So you can find us in that way. If you want to be a member, join us on our website. There's a membership aspect there. And to be a member, you do not have to be a nurse. To be a member, you do not have to be a student. To be a member, you don't have to be a practicing nurse. You just need to believe in our mission and mandate, which is to serve, mentor, and empower Black Canadian nurses to the power of community. And if you want to ensure that we are the number one voice to serve Black Canadians, this is another way to be a member. You can also be a member by volunteering, by also bringing your thought leadership and your expertise into the organization. Once again, you don't need to be a nurse to do that.
Yes.
There's those opportunities in joining us as an organization. And we're looking forward to seeing what happens with Beyond the Household Name over the next 5 to 10 years through you joining us as a team and bringing part of this awesomeness that we've achieved in such a short time.
Yeah, so wonderful. And I want to thank you guys again for championing diversity. And I know you guys are already a household name. And I implore all my international nurses, and you don't have to be a nurse, as you stated. So join the CBNA, go out, check out their website and join, see ways of how you can give back and by becoming a member. I wish you all the success in your determination, in your organization, and the alliances that you have formed. Next 5 to 10 years, I hope to see big things from you guys.
You will see big things.
Yes, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me here today, and I look forward to the continued collaboration.
Yes, thank you.